Atlantic coast. And then we moved to Georgetown, me and my whole family, when I was about the age of 8. And as a child in Georgetown, growing up also, I loved, going to the library, our public free library every day and borrowing books. My dad was a head teacher, so our house was always full of books. And I suppose as a child I had a taste of England, even though I hadn't, seen the place, but in my imagination, as a child, I felt England because we also studied all the English writers growing up. Guyana was an English, British colony at the time. So I've always had this sense of England in the imagination. And when I was older, came to England and began life here again. So in a way, as a writer, I feel I have both places. I belong both to the Caribbean and to England also. Well, the poem Island Man comes out of my own experience, because when I first came to England, we lived in Neasden for a while, which was right beside the North Circular Road. And one of the things that I'll hear in the mornings is this great swooshing of the traffic, and it was very cold, and you know what I mean, the metal of the big articulated lorries that kept flashing by, they were very much in my mind. So the idea for the poem came out of that, lying in bed one morning and almost thinking that the sound of the traffic was the sound of the sea, the sound of the surf. And that's how that poem came. But I mean, it became like an island man, because I felt it would be nice to have an island man waking up to the sound of the sea in his head. But it's not really the sea, it's the traffic. And the form of the poem came quite naturally, because, I mean, in writing a poem, I don't have a preconceived form in my head. I just go with the flow of the poem. And the breaks in the poem, that particular poem, coming on to the end of the poem, there are some deliberate breaks within it to suggest that kind of split in the man's consciousness, in his imagination, between the Caribbean and England, because he's in both worlds in a way, thinking he's in the Caribbean, but really he's in England. So I wanted to capture that. But the flow of the poem came quite naturally in that particular one. Though in some other poems in my work I might have deliberate 4-line stanzas or whatever. That's the way this one came. Morning, an island man wakes up to the sound of blue surf in his head, the steady breaking and whooming, wild seabirds and fishermen pushing out to sea, the sun surfacing defiantly. From the east of his small emerald island, he always comes back groggily, comes back to sands of a grey metallic shore, to surge of wheels, to dull North Circular roar, muffling his crumpled pillow waves. Island man heaves himself, another London day.